Hello and welcome to the pH Skin Tester User Manual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through everything there is to do with this pH Skin Tester, including just telling you a little bit about pH and how important it is with spray tanning. And then I'm also going to tell you how to do a skin pH test on your client. And then lastly, what I've got is I've got a whole table full of the pH value that your client may have and the exact solution that you'll need and the time that you need to leave it on for your client. So I've made it very, very simple if you're going to use the skin tester for your clients. The science behind spray tanning is extremely interesting and very important when it comes to clients getting the best spray tan results. It's why I'm adamant with my spray tan clients that having the correct pH level of the skin prior, during and after their spray tan appointment is mandatory, and a reason why I thought that I needed to find a way to test the pH of the skin prior to spray tanning a client. These pH skin testers will be a fantastic way to ensure that the client's skin is at the perfect pH level and will allow you to adjust your selection of solution to accommodate the pH level of your client's skin. If the pH of the client's skin is slightly higher or lower, you will be able to adjust the colour and DHA percentage that you use on your client to always get the perfect result. It will also give you that edge and advantage over spray tanners in your area, as nobody else will be doing as an extensive a test on the client's skin prior to the application. It really brings the standard of your spray tanning and consultation process higher than anybody else using other solution brands. What is pH? As we are now discovering, the pH level of the skin is really important when it comes to spray tanning and the development of the spray tan. pH stands for potential of hydrogen or potential hydrogen, which is the concentration of hydrogen ions in a liquid. Just to clear things up, it's not actually the skin itself that has a pH reading. Objects that are solid can't have a pH, so for anything to have a pH reading, it must be liquid. The skin has a thin protective layer on its surface, which is called the acid mantle. The acid mantle is a combination of the sebum, which are the free fatty acids that are excreted from the skin's sebaceous glands, and the lactic and amino acids from sweat. Producing this is a way that your skin naturally fights the growth of bad bacteria and keeps a comfortable level of moisture in your day-to-day life. This is what actually creates the skin's pH. Your skin is continually producing this and it is excreted out through the skin, which is what gives the skin's pH reading. In all research documentation I have come across, as well as already being known as a standard term in the spray tanning industry, we will still refer to it as skin pH. But just remember that it's what is excreted through the skin that is creating the pH, not the skin itself. The pH level of the skin refers to how acidic or alkaline it is. On a scale of 0 to 14, with 0 being the most acidic to 14 being the most alkaline, 7 is considered a neutral reading for your skin's pH. The ideal pH for the skin should be slightly acidic though, at around 5.5. So, how does pH affect your spray tanning? Spray tan solutions are formulated with a pH of around 4 to 6, so the natural pH level of the skin is perfectly suited to a spray tan solution. Having a skin's pH with too high or too low a reading can potentially affect the outcome of the spray tan result. The further the skin's pH is away from the spray tan solution's pH, the less desired the results will be. The important thing to remember is that not only do we have to worry about the pH of the skin for the duration of the time it's on the skin, but also whilst the tan is developing for the first 24 hours, not just at the time of the spray tan application. Whatever is excreted through the skin will change the outcome of the spray tan, and as the tan is in development for anywhere up to 24 to 36 hours, then we need to think about what we or our clients are doing for the duration of that time to get the best spray tan results. And this brings me to a post that I posted up in the Color Me Bronze Professional private group. And if you're a part of that group, you would have seen this post. And that's to do with spray tan parties and bringing alcohol and giving them champagne. Drinking alcohol before, during, or after a spray tan isn't the best for a spray tan result. And the main reason for that is because the pH of alcohol, or especially champagne, is 2, so it's really acidic. So you have to remember what goes in must come out, and not only do we urinate our alcohol out through our system, but it also does excrete through the skin. So because there's quite a difference in pH between our natural pH levels, which is 5.5, and of alcohol or champagne, which is 2, it's going to change the outcome of the spray tan result. So I would recommend not bringing or suggesting or encouraging people to drink alcohol at a spray tan party because of this reason. Color Me Bronze Professional Skin pH Meter Testers. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be able to tell you guys about this. It's a really great concept, and it's going to change the way that you look at spray tanning and your spray tanning service. Color Me Bronze Professional has released a skin pH meter tester that can test the pH levels of your client's skin prior to a solution being sprayed on a client. They are specifically manufactured to be able to test the pH level of the skin. These will be a fantastic way to ensure that the client's skin is at the perfect pH level, and will allow you to adjust your selection of solution to accommodate the pH level of your client's skin. If the pH of the client's skin is slightly higher or lower, you will be able to adjust the color and DHA percentage that you use on your client to always get the perfect result. So this means that you can potentially eliminate all those clients, or not all those clients, but those clients that come back and say that, you know, they had an orange result or their tan didn't develop really well, because you will know the pH level of the client's skin prior to applying the solution to the client's skin. It's going to be fantastic. It will also give you that edge and advantage over spray tanners in your area, as nobody else will be doing as an extensive a test on the client's skin prior to the application. It really brings the standard of your spray tanning and consultation process higher than anybody else using other solution brands. These pH skin testers will be available only to those spray tanners who are using the Color Me Bronze Professional brand. Higher pH reading on clients. So let's have a look and see what happens when you're doing your pH reading and it comes up as a higher reading than what you expect of around 5.5. Those clients who have a higher pH or alkaline reading than the product being placed on the skin will find that their tans will over-process quicker and go orange, but can also develop lighter, but still with a golden result, which is why we say that the tan can turn orange easier with a higher pH level. This has also been confirmed in a report on dihydroxyacetone by MC Biotech Incorporated. So basically what happens is, if the skin has a natural pH of 5.5, spray tan solutions are formulated anywhere between 4 to 6. So if you have a pH reading of the skin that's anywhere from 7 above, or even 6.5 and above, then you can potentially have a client that will go orange a lot easier than normal. Lower pH reading on clients. Those clients who have a lower pH or acidic pH than the product being placed on the skin will find that their tans may not develop as dark as they are meant to, and it also won't last as long. So clients who have a lower pH will always develop lighter than normal and have a shorter lifespan. Now this is mainly because when you have a lower pH or more acidic skin, you have a more oilier skin, so you produce more oil. And what happens is that the oil obviously sits as a barrier on the skin and stops the spray tan solution being able to penetrate and absorb with the skin, which in turn gives you a lighter result and a shorter lifespan of the tan as well. The only difference between a higher pH and lower pH result is that the lower pH skin will not overprocess the solution. So you will very rarely get an orangey or golden result with a client who has an overly acidic pH skin level. So you'll get those clients that have the lower pH. They will get a nice result that won't go an orangey color, but they just won't get that depth of color that they're looking for because the solution can't penetrate and absorb with the skin correctly. Using the Color Me Bronze Professional pH Skin Tester. The pH of the skin being at its standard pH, which is 5.5, is really important to ensure the best spray tan solution result. If the pH is out, this can cause the results to either potentially overprocess or underprocess, and we will not be able to tell this unless a skin test is done. There are ways that we can manipulate the results by adjusting the DHA percentage to match the pH level of the skin so that the client gets a more realistic spray tan result. If a client's skin pH is above the standard 5.5 or more alkaline, then a lower DHA percentage should be used for a shorter amount of time. If a client's skin pH is lower than the standard 5.5 or more acidic, then a higher DHA percentage should be used for a longer amount of time. More than likely, a client's skin will be more alkaline than normal, especially if they have showered within 3 hours of their appointment or have used products on their skin the day of their appointment. Let's go through the Color Me Bronze Professional Tester Kit that you'll receive when you purchase the pH tester. The pH tester will already be calibrated when you receive it, so there's no need to calibrate yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to personally calibrate each and every machine that I send out so that all you need to do when you receive it is chuck in the batteries and it's ready to go. There will be times that you will need to calibrate in the future to keep the tester accurate, and instructional videos on how to do this will be placed up on the website soon. With your kit, you will receive the pH Skin Meter Tester, 20 ml of pH buffer solutions and packets of buffer solutions. So what I've done is I've made it as easy as possible for you. So I've got a couple of 20 ml jars and popped some buffer solution, which is at 4.0 and 7.0. And when you first need to calibrate it, all you need to do is just stick the meter tester into each of the buffer solutions and follow the instructions that you'll receive with the pH tester. The packets of buffer solutions can be used another time. Now they're a one-off use, and you just need to mix it with some demineralized or deionized water with the ingredients in each of the packets and just do the same thing. So you'll just place the pH tester into that mix to calibrate the pH tester. You'll also receive 30 ml of Electrode storage solution. So this is what needs to be kept in the cap of the pH tester to make sure that the bulb doesn't dry out. So it's really important to make sure that there's always liquid in the cap when you're storing away your pH tester. 30 ml of demineralized water. So basically, demineralized water is used when you need to first wipe over the pH tester before use, and then you also need to dab a little bit of a cotton wool ball into a little bit of the demineralized water and place on the client's skin, and that's what you put the pH tester on. But I'll go through that a little bit later as well. And you'll also get 10 Kimwipes. So Kimwipes are a specially formulated wipe that are for use on electrode meters so that they don't destroy or damage the bulb at all. So they're not as harsh as, say, like paper towels or baby wipes or anything like that. So it's best to use Kimwipes when you're wiping down the electrode after every use. The pH tester needs 3 by G13A batteries. Lithium batteries cannot be couriered, so you will need to purchase these yourself if you're not picking up the pH tester from Color Me Bronze. So unfortunately, I can't courier out or send by road lithium batteries at all because the courier companies don't like to take them. Instructions on how to insert the batteries are included with the instruction manual that comes with the pH tester. How to measure your client's pH. So the first step you need to do is to rinse the electrode or the bottom section of the tester with distilled or demineralized water, and then you just wipe it over with a Kimwipe. Press the MEAS or hold key to turn on the tester. So you just press a button and the pH skin tester will turn on. Lightly wet a cotton wool ball with demineralized water and wipe on the upper arm of the client. It just needs a little bit, so it just needs to be wet. As I mentioned before, you can't do a pH test on solids, that it needs to be included with liquid. So what we need to do is we need to put demineralized water onto the skin so that we can get the pH reading of the skin. Place the electrode on the skin. Wait for the reading to stabilize, record the measured value on the display. So basically what will happen is when you put the pH tester on the skin, you'll see it fluctuate a little bit. So it'll go up and down, and then it will come and stabilize and stop at a pH reading. And that's what the pH reading of the client's skin will be. Okay, so now let's have a look at which solutions we should be selecting with different pH readings of the skin. I've tried to make this as simple and easy as possible for you to follow and to use later on if you do purchase the skin tester. So all you'll need to do is have a look at the pH reading of the skin, have a look at which solution you need to use and how long it's to be kept on the skin. So it really does make a difference. I experimented with this for about 6 or 7 months before I put this manual together. So this is coming from true experience from me and my clients. So I knew exactly what works and what doesn't work, timings at work, and the solutions to use. Now, obviously, technique will play a part in this as well. I mean, obviously, you're always going to get a differing result of spray tan solution result depending on the technique that you have that you use on your client. So everyone has a slightly different technique. So these results come from my technique, or the Color Me Bronze Professional Specialized Tanning Technique. So if you're using that technique, you're going to have 100% success rate when you follow this instructional information that I'm about to give you. So the first one, if a client has a pH of 2 to 4.4, that's extremely low. They're going to either be a little bit on unhealthy side. So like myself, I continuously drank Diet Coke and drank nothing else. So it really sunk the pH level of my skin down really low. You'll find also that those people that drink a lot of alcohol will also have a more acidic reading of the skin as well, be a lower reading of the skin. But if a client comes to you and they have a pH reading of 2 to 4.4, then you need to make sure that you're using a higher percent DHA, so 15 or 16% DHA, because you need to make sure that the solution is going to penetrate through. Now remember I said before, those clients that have a lower pH will have a more oilier skin. So we've got to break through that barrier, that natural barrier that's sitting on top of the skin. So you need to use a higher percentage DHA solution. So any solution that is 15% or above. So Color Me Risque, which suits any undertone. Color Me Risque and Bohemian Princess Tantail, so that's for any undertone. Bohemian Princess, which is for a warm undertone, or the Flirty 15%, which is for a cool undertone. So as I mentioned before, it needs a higher percentage DHA and kept on longer to get good results. Now, those clients that have a really low pH reading of the skin won't achieve a really dark result with a lower pH than product. So you just need to make sure that you're telling your client, look, your pH is out, it's really low. We normally don't get a great result or a dark result with those clients that have a lower pH level than normal. So what we need to do to get you a good result is that we need to make sure that we're using a higher percentage DHA solution and leaving it on longer. So they will need to leave it on for the full amount, which is 8 hours, or overnight for convenience. And more than likely they'll end up with a medium result. They won't get a really dark result. If they're wanting something lighter, then they can leave it on for 6 hours. I wouldn't leave it on for any less with a client that has a really low percentage DHA. Now, I used to have, really good skin, and it was really healthy and it was perfect. And I used to go really, really dark with spray tan solutions. And then all of a sudden, I started eating incorrectly and started drinking a lot of Diet Coke, and obviously my skin pH was all out of whack. And I noticed that my spray tan results differed greatly, and I wasn't getting the color and I wasn't getting the longevity out of the spray tan. It was driving me insane. And I finally worked out that it had to do with the pH levels of the skin. And when I did my reading, I was down, I think it was like 2.4 or something, so it was extremely low. So now that it's getting more fixed, or it's getting better, I'm finding that the results are starting to come back to normal now. So pH really does make a difference. And the lower the pH is on the skin, the less that the results are going to take as well. So you really need to make sure that you're drumming that into your clients and just making sure that you're telling them, oh, listen, like your pH is lower than normal. You're not going to get the results that you're expecting, or you may not get the results that you're expecting. But we need to improve or rise the pH level of your skin so that we get the perfect result for you next time. Okay, so when a client has a pH reading of 4.5 to 5.9, that's an average standard reading of the skin. So you really don't need to change much at all. So you use the standard solutions you would normally select for your client, and they are kept on anywhere between 2 to 8 hours or overnight for convenience, depending on the depth of color that they're after. So you just follow the normal protocol of solution selection for that. So when a client has a pH level of 4.5 to 5.9, it's the easiest pH to get consistent results. When you're pushing up towards 5.8 and 5.9, it can fluctuate. You may want to have a look at, or potentially looking at, the readings of 6.0 above, especially if the first time it doesn't really work or you're still getting a little bit of a golden result. Then look at the next step up for next time that they come in. But yeah, anywhere between 4.5 to 5.9 is pretty standard, so you just use the standard solutions that you would normally select for your client. When a client has a pH reading of 6 to 6.9 and they want a dark result, you need to keep the solutions at a lower level DHA percentage. So you really want to don't want to go excessively to like 13, 14, 15, 16%. You really want to keep them at a max of 12%. So for a client to get a dark result, they would use Cheeky for any undertone, a mix of flirty and spicy for any undertone, and flirty 10% and risque for a cool undertone. And they keep it on roughly for around about 6 hours to get a dark result. Now, if a client insists that they want a rapid solution, or they want to use a rapid solution, then you can do it, but the results aren't going to be as good as if you follow using it a lower percentage for a longer amount of time. So I've just put that on there because there's going to be some people that, you know, won't buy all of the Color Me Bronze solution range, and they might want to just, you know, buy the rapid pack or whatever. So if you do, you can do it, but the results won't be as amazing as what you would do if you're following the right protocol of keeping the solution at a lower DHA for longer. Now, for a rapid solution at 15% or above, they would use Risque for any undertone, a Risque Bohemian Princess mix for any undertone, Flirty 15% for a cool undertone, or Bohemian Princess for a warm undertone, and they'd keep that on for 2 to 2.5 hours only, max. So I would probably look more towards the 2 hours. They can push it to 2.5 hours, but I would be keeping it for 2 hours max. If a client has a pH of 6 to 6.9 and they're after a medium result, then we'd use the Flirty and Cheeky Tantal mix, which is good for any undertone, and we'd leave it on for 4 hours. Now, if you guys are only using the rapid solutions, or you have a client that insists on using a rapid solution, then you can use the Risque for any undertone, the Risque Bohemian Princess mix for any undertone, Flirty 15% for a cool undertone, or Bohemian Princess for a warm undertone, and that will be kept on the skin for only 1.5 to 2 hours max. If a client has a pH reading of 6 to 6.9 and they're after a light result, then you'd be using the Flirty 10% for a cool undertone, or the Flirty 10% and Cheeky mix for any undertone, and just keeping it on the skin for 3 hours. So again, remembering that if they have a higher pH reading, you need to have the solutions at a lower DHA percentage with shorter amount of time. If you're only using the rapid solutions, again, you'll be using the Risque for any undertone, the Risque Bohemian Princess Tantal mix for any undertone, the Flirty 15% for a cool undertone, Bohemian Princess warm undertone, and that will be kept on for 1 to 1.5 hours only. That's all you need for a light result. When a client has a pH reading of 7 to 7.4 and they want a dark result, we need to use the Flirty 10% for a cool undertone or Flirty 10% and Cheeky for any undertone and keep it on the skin only for 4 hours and they'll get a dark result. So the higher the pH level of the skin, the less time that they need to leave it on the skin for. And if you're only using the rapid packs, as I mentioned before, it's better to use a low percentage DHA, but you can get a result with a 15% or higher percentage DHA. So you use the Risque for any undertone, the Risque Bohemian Princess Tan Towel for any undertone, Flirty 15% for a cool undertone, Bohemian Princess for a warm undertone, and that would be kept on the skin only for 1.5 to 2 hours max. So I'd say more towards the 1.5 hours. When a client has a pH reading of 7 to 7.4 and they're after a medium result, again, we'll use the Flirty 10% for a cool undertone and Flirty 10% and Cheeky for any undertone and only keeping it on for 3 hours max. If you're using the rapid solutions or the 15% plus solutions, you would use, again, Risque for any undertone, Risque Bohemian Princess mix for any undertone, Flirty 15% for a cool undertone and Bohemian Princess for a warm undertone, kept on for 1 to 1.5 hours only. When a client has a pH reading of 7 to 7.4 and they want a light result, then we need to use the Flirty 10% cool undertone or Flirty 10% and Cheeky mix for any undertone and only keeping it on the skin for 2 hours. So you really only need a 10 or 11% on for 2 hours to get a light result when you have an elevated pH level between 7 and 7.4. Now, if you're using the rapid solutions, we use exactly the same solutions. So Risque Bohemian Princess, Flirty 15 or Bohemian Princess, and keeping it on the skin for only 30 minutes to 1 hour. That's all you need to get a light result when the client's pH level is elevated between 7 and 7.4. If a client has a pH reading of 7.5, which is really rare, you're not going to see very many that have an elevated pH level like that unless they've basically just had a shower and come to see you. So in the case of anyone that has a pH level of 7.5 and above, you really only need to do one light coat only because their pH reading is so elevated, you don't want to put too much product on the skin. To get a dark result, you use the Flirty 10% for a cool undertone or Flirty 10% and Cheeky mix for any undertone and keeping it on the skin only for 4 hours. So that's one coat only instead of 2 light coats for 4 hours. When a client has a pH of 7.5 plus and they want a medium result, remember we're only doing one light coat only. Again, you use the Flirty 10% for a cool undertone or Flirty 10% and Cheeky for any undertone and you're keeping it on the skin for 3 hours only. So when a client has a pH of 7.5 and above, and they want a light result, remember we're only doing one light coat only. So again, we use the Flirty 10% for a cool undertone or the Flirty 10% and Cheeky mix for any undertone. And we're only keeping it on the skin for 2 hours only. So that's all that they need. Now, just remember when we're describing light, medium and dark to a client, that light, medium and dark is in comparison to their standard skin tone or their particular skin tone. Now, clients that have an elevated or decreased pH reading aren't going to get the best results that they could possibly have. So we're going to, by manipulating the pH and the solutions to compensate for the pH readings, we're getting them the best results that they can possibly can without having a spray tan turn orange or an undesired result. So you just need to make sure that you're advising them that you're saying, look, your pH levels are elevated or they're really low. We're going to manipulate the solutions to accommodate for that. We're going to get you the best result that we can, but they're not going to be as good as what they would be if your pH was in that perfect pH range to get the best results. So as long as you're telling your clients that, they're going to be really happy with the results regardless. And that's what I found when I was experimenting with this before I put this document together. and I saw that a pH reading was, elevated or decreased, and especially elevated, I'd be like, you just had a shower within 2 hours, didn't you? And they're like, yes. And it was like so easy to be able to tell, like, they try to get away with things, but there's no way that they'll be able to get away with anything when you're doing the pH reading of the skin, because you can absolutely see it. And I've got to the point now when I see a pH reading and I can say, you had a shower 2 hours ago, didn't you? And they're like, yes. And it's like, well, you had a shower like half an hour ago, didn't you? Yes. And you can it's not that you want to catch them out, but you just want to let them know that we can now tell that what they're doing, and we can advise them that the best way to get the best results is to make sure that they're waiting 3 hours before they come to their appointment, or not having a shower within 3 hours of their appointment, so their pH is at the perfect pH level to get the best spray tan results. And, we want the best for our clients, don't we? So we need to advise them and just let them know of this so that they can do the proper prep so that they can get the best results possible. And this works with any solution. I mean, it's not that it's just for Color Me Bronze solutions that they have to wait this particular time. Spray tan solutions are all formulated, very similar. They might have different ingredients in them, but they're still formulated in a similar way, and they still have the DHA that reacts in a similar way to everyone. So, everything sort of is relatable to everything, and you just need to make sure that you're consistent with what you're telling your clients so that they can get the best results possible. And my suggestion is to always make sure that the client's pH is within that certain bracket, and that to have that possible is just to make sure that they're doing the correct prep and that they're not showering within 3 hours of their appointment time slot. What advice can we give our clients to correct their pH? We need to tell them that to avoid shampoos, soaps, and facial cleansers that have a high pH factor. So anything that's formulated with a pH higher than 5.5 or 5.5 to 6 should not be used on the skin, especially when it comes to spray tanning. So make sure that when you're purchasing products that you're retailing in your salons and your studios, that you're finding out what the pH of the particular product is. And if it's not around about 5.5, then don't use it. Try to source a product that has a specific pH level of 5 to 5.5, or at the most 6, so that it works the best for the client's skin and works best for spray tanning. So with some products, the pH may be listed on the packaging, but if it's not, you can actually purchase pH strips to test the pH of your products. And I suggest that you do that so you get familiar with the pH level of what different products are. And it's really interesting, so you can, experiment and buy them and put the pH strips on them and have a look at the color and analyze it against the color chart to see what the pH is. It's really a lot of fun. So I suggest that you familiarize yourself with the different pH levels of the different products. But my recommendation is not to suggest or not to use or not to sell products that have a higher pH than 6 to your spray tan clients for spray tanning. And if someone tells you that, a pH of higher than 6 is okay for spray tanning in your skin, it's not. The higher the pH level, the more alkaline it is. The more alkaline it is, the more drying it is on the skin. So we need to keep the products that we're using on the skin as close to the natural pH level of the skin, which is around about 5.5, for the best results for your skin and the best results for a spray tan. Many cleansing products, especially bargain products, have a pH factor of more than 8. This is much more alkaline than the skin and can strip the skin of its natural acid mantle. So as I mentioned before, we need to use products that are as close to a pH of 5.5 as possible. If spray tan specific products are not available, please check the pH of the product before using, as a lot are still manufactured with a high pH. Then use FemFresh Daily Intimate Wash as a body wash, because this has a lower pH. So, it's basically been formulated for intimate areas, but I would suggest using it for all over body wash. If you cannot find a body wash that has a pH of around about 5.5, or your spray tan brand does not sell a body wash that is formulated at a pH of around about 5.5. Calorie Bronze is in our testing phase of our body wash that is palm oil free and formulated with a pH of 5.5. It's amazing. So I've got a number of my clients that are currently using it at the moment every time they come in for a spray tan, and we're just having a look at what the results are like, and the results are coming back are really good. Actually, they're really happy with it, and a lot of the clients are stating that they're finding that their skin is a lot softer, their skin feels a lot more fresher, it looks a lot more vibrant, and that's because it is formulated at 5.5, which is what the skin's pH should be. Now, this should be ready to be manufactured in the third quarter of 2018. So once we've got this done, I'm going to have a look at doing some shampoos and conditioners that are formulated at 5.5 as well. So this will help, with eliminate that issue that some people have when, it strips the tan off the back of them and they have the reverse strip marks and that. So I'm looking at next stage of doing a shampoo and conditioner, which will be amazing. So keep an eye out for that. As I mentioned, the body wash is going to be out probably in third or fourth quarter this year. I just really want to make sure that it works well. So we're just tweaking, we're testing, we're tweaking, we're testing. And once that we've got the base of the product down pat, then we need to start looking at coloring and scents and stuff like that in there as well. So there's still a fair way to go, but it's coming along really well, and my clients are absolutely loving the body wash. They're finding that it's lasting a lot longer than what they're using off the shelf products. They're loving it as well. So it's going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait to release it. It's going to be fantastic. And yeah, and I've got a whole lot of other things that I'm looking at as well now that I want to try and formulate everything that's to do with tan care at a pH level of 5.5, so you get the best results and you get a longer lasting spray tan as well. So I'll keep you guys updated with that, but thank you for having a listen to this presentation, and I hope that you found it interesting. I hope that you're excited about using the pH testers. They're going to be amazing. They're going to be a real seller with your clients. I think if you go in and you say, I want to test the pH level of your skin so we can change up the spray tan solution if your pH is out a little bit, so we can get the best results that we can for you without potentially over processing or under processing your tan, then they're going to be really happy with that. And as I've mentioned before, it's a real selling point, and it's something that's going to make you stand out against your competitors that are in your local area. Now, if you have any questions with what you've seen today in this presentation, then you can either email me, you can PM me, you can post it in the Color Me Bronze Professional group, and I'll answer them as best as I can. But thank you, and I hope to see you guys purchasing the skin testers soon. Thanks. Bye.